Okay. Here's PBA. Yep. And that guy here.
Good morning, Michael.
Okay, can you hear me?
Is that person quarantined?
Yes.
Oh,
Hello?
I see.
Hello.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you.
Okay, very good. Pull up the agenda. Okay. That's Mr. Taylor there?
Yes.
Okay, very good. We'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Board of County Commissioners to order. Notice all three commissioners are present. Mr. Taylor here being for Commissioner Mon, rather. Notice meeting was properly posted on June 29, 2020. And I'm sorry, I don't recall if it is District 1 or District 2's turn to introduce the person to give the prayer.
It is District 1, thank you.
Beth.
Good morning, everyone, and I want to make sure that Reverend Shiloh O'Neill is on. Reverend O'Neill, are you signed in? I saw her up there for a minute and now she's gone. Reverend O'Neill? Uh-oh. Not there. Okay. Well. Let's see. Anna's not down here, is she? Oh, hello. Okay. I saw her name up there a minute ago. Okay. Well, if Reverend O'Neill pops back on, we'll let her give a prayer. But I think in the interim, I think what I would like to do is just have a moment of silence, and then I will lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. So, would you join me in a moment of silence? Thank you, everyone, and I will do our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Blomert. And before we take up item 1, I'm appearing remotely today because just self-quarantining after an exposure to coronavirus. Hopefully everything will be okay, but just want to be better safe than sorry. So item 1 will be discussion possible action to set a date, time, and place of the meeting to reconvene in the event that technical difficulties arise during the course of this meeting that cannot be resolved within 30 minutes.
Commissioner Calvi, we need you to enable your video, please.
Okay, I thought I had.
It's not as of right now, but I do need it in enabled for this meeting to be correct.
Okay. Let me attempt to do that. You know what? Mine does it on, but you're not seeing it on?
There you are. Thank you.
Here. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, I realize it's probably better if you couldn't see me, but anyway, here we are. Thank you, Mr. Okay, so, Commissioners, we have a budget board meeting right after this. Would we want to say that if we couldn't resolve this within 30 minutes, we would just convene this at, say, 11 a.m., which would be immediately after the budget board meeting?
That's fine with me. I'll move that we
Okay.
reconvene at 11 a.m. if we get disconnected.
Very good.
Oh, do I need
Is
to?
there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I am unable to see the vote on the screen. This, the old-fashioned way, the vote.
You
If
want
we're
to?
using the voting machines, I guess what I'm going to say is I'll have to ask the clerk from time to time if the vote is finally tallied. So, should be no
Is that
problem.
okay? Okay.
Okay, first item then is the approval of the minutes, and this is both for June 24th and 26th, a regular and a special meeting. Is there a motion?
I move we approve our minutes from the 24th and the 26th.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner, just to be consistent, will you do roll call vote? Just, it'll make it easier since you're on teleconference.
Okay, well, we'll back up on that one, then do roll call vote. So, Commissioner Bloomer,
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And there's our consent agenda, which is items 3 through,
13.
scrolling through along the list here. Okay, items 3 through 6. Is there a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, it's more than that. 3 through 13. Is there a
Yes.
motion?
I believe Mr. Honeycutt has something to add.
Morning.
Morning.
On item 6, those are items of inventory scheduled to be transferred from the sheriff's office to the trust. There are a number of items that we need to be removed from that list, and I've provided a copy to the clerk's office and to each commissioners here. I'm sorry I wasn't able to provide you with one, Commissioner Calvi, and I can read them line by line if it's the pleasure, or if we can just, Aaron, how do you think we need to?
So this document is items that are included in the agenda that you all are not,
Transferring to the.
you're not transferring to the trust, you want to keep with the sheriff's inventory?
Correct. When the list was generated, it was predominantly just everything that was in the building.
Okay.
So now we're removing that chunk.
Okay. Okay.
And so I provided a list to the clerk's office.
Okay. Commissioner Calvi, do you have this list?
He does not.
Okay.
No.
It was just realized.
So let me understand. So what you're wanting to do is to omit those from this item. Obviously, ultimately, it would be still up to the board if they wish to still transfer the items omitted, but it would just not be included in this particular item, correct?
Correct. What we're seeking is just to remove the items on our list from the resolution today.
And Commissioner Calvi, it's a list of maybe,
It's 44 items.
okay.
Majority of it is radio infrastructure for our
Yeah, it
microwave
looks like
system.
mostly radios. I believe I will probably need to make a motion to receive this.
Right.
Aaron, it's not an issue that we're receiving this document, but Commissioner Calvi doesn't have a copy of it. That's fine, okay. I'll move that we receive this item that Danny Honeycutt handed out.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion to receive, we'll do roll call. Commissioner Bloomer,
Aye.
Mr. Taylor,
Aye.
and I will vote aye. Okay, is there a motion then to, and So I do not have the document, but with the understanding, which of course would be the case procedurally, that we could, this doesn't mean that those items will not ultimately be transferred to the trust, but just will not be included in this item. I'm comfortable going forward even having not seen the list. So is there a motion to approve I guess I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda subject to the list that was just received being removed from item 6.
I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. We'll call the roll. Mr. Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I will vote aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, item 14. Commissioner Bloomer?
Yes. Item 14 is a request from, let's see if I can get down here on my agenda. Robbie, are you signed on? There you are. Okay. Item 14 is a request from Mr. Preston Neighbors and Robbie Kinzel with the City of Oklahoma City to paint a mural on a wall directly outside of the jail. And I have a few things to say, but I think, Robbie, I'd like you to go first and explain the mural. And then I don't see Mr. Neighbors has signed on. I think it's just Robbie for right now.
Right. Good morning, Commissioners. So all murals in Oklahoma City, when my office receives requests for them, all murals are required to be permitted. And we always, when I'm working with an applicant, the first thing that I ask is, do they have the property owner's permission, which in this case, Mr. Neighbors identified a wall that is owned by the county. And then we look at the zoning, so that, and they all go through the Arts Commission and whatever design review body is required before a permit is issued. In this case, in a downtown location, it could take all the way till September to get a permit, but all of these things are reviewed by the Arts Commission, who gives all the advice to mayor and council for public art in Oklahoma City. And so Mr. Neighbors was directed to my office, and we received this request, and that's why we're coming to you today. The Black Lives Matter mural, sponsored by the movement, they have requested that they could paint it on the wall there at the county jail. So this is merely to see if we can seek permission and authorize someone to sign paperwork so that it could go through review and permitting. And I'll be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Thank you, Robbie.
Okay, are there any questions?
Is Mr. Neighbors on? I don't think so. I don't have any questions, but I will add that I am very supportive of this, and I think just as a public statement of the county publicly saying that Black Lives Matter, it certainly does not mean that other lives do not matter. This is just a public statement saying that historically we have treated our black neighbors not as well as we have treated our white neighbors, and we've seen that a lot recently in the protests and what happened with George Floyd and many others. And so I personally am very supportive of this and think it would be a really powerful statement for the county to have this right outside of our jail. But I understand if not everyone feels that way. So Mr. Neighbors was going to be here to speak. I believe he would be the one that would actually paint the mural, and he has done this before. So that is all I have to say. I don't have any other questions.
Okay. I would move that we move this to the Policy and Governance Committee for this reason. To my knowledge, there's never been a request to paint a mural on the jail or another county building. Obviously, that's something fairly permanent, and we would need to study whether or not that's appropriate to begin with. Number two, there may be other proposals, if it would be appropriate to do that, perhaps for instance, a memorial for fallen police officers or whatever. And then there's the question of, well, that's really it. So I think it needs some further study, so I would make a motion that we move this item to the Policy and Governance Committee.
Yes, and we do have one citizen signed up to speak. If there are no other, do you have any questions or comments?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, there may be a couple of issues. First of all, typically public comment we do at the end, but also in this instance, by video, I know this came up at one of our trust meetings. Is there the ability, I guess this would be a question for the district attorney, do we do public comment when it's a video meeting?
Yeah. She said it's on the agenda.
Okay, so it's an item on the agenda, so, okay, well, I would be happy to, we have a motion on here, but if there's a citizen who wishes to speak, I would be happy to recognize, there's somebody that's signed up to speak?
Yes, Mr. Larry Grant.
Okay.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Calvi, thank you, Commissioner. Okay, I have to disagree, I'm sorry, and I want to say why, okay? This city, whether y'all know it or not, is divided, and this just divides it that much more. Between law enforcement, between Black Lives Matter, between other groups. Have y'all been out in the county and talked to people and seen what the temperature is? It's not good. I might suggest that this board form some sort of a countywide commission of not just business people, but regular people. Put all the heads together, Black Lives Matter, everybody. Put it together and come up with some ideas, some ways that we can calm the situation down, but try to meet everybody's goals in a peaceful way. I think this is just going to make things accelerate to where none of us want it. So I'm asking y'all to please give this a lot of thought. And Mr. Calvi, Commissioner Calvi is right. If this is allowed, I can guarantee that our FOP, and by the way, I'm sorry, I didn't address my name or anything. Our FOP will ask for our mural to be put up in Blue Lives Matter and Back to Blue. And we won't be the only ones. There's going to be agencies from across the county that'll do the same thing. So this has no place on county building. That's taxpayers' money. And we wanted to make sure that we got that point across. We are not against Black Lives Matter, their movement. As y'all know, we are against violence, but we're not against any kind of a peaceful protest. And I don't want anybody to think that we are. We are not. But we do want to make sure that this is handled in such a way that it's fair to all parties, okay? My name is Larry Grant. I'm president of the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge 155. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Grant.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Grant. So there's a motion to move this to the Policy and Governance Committee. I might add that one of the solutions that committee could choose, I suppose, is to form such a commission as was described just now, but that's up to them. So the motion is to move this item to the Policy and Governance Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We'll go ahead and call the roll. District 1.
Aye.
Mr. Taylor.
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Okay, the item is referred to the Policy and Governance Committee.
Thank you, Robbie. And I'll keep you informed as to when this goes to that committee. And this is typical of our body to send things to committee and then it comes back to the commissioner. So that this is not a no, it's just we need more time to think over it.
Right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you. Okay. Item 15, District 1.
Item 15, I know that there was a similar update regarding this item at the trust meeting earlier this week, but I also wanted to hear an update regarding the transfer of detainees from our jail to DOC custody. So if it is Captain Bradley. How does it feel? It's July 1st.
It's the first night I've slept through the night.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioners. Captain Bradley with the Sheriff's Office. So as of June 30th, we started out with an original list of 100 people on the DOC transfer list. As of June 30th, we've completed that 100. So 90 males have gone to Lexington and 10 females have gone to Mabel Bassett. As of yesterday, we have not received another list from DOC. What I was being told was they're now pulling from some of the other counties
Okay.
to get those, and we should anticipate, or they should anticipate a list probably the beginning of next week to start the next,
Okay.
the next 100.
Do you know how many, after that 100 were moved, do you know how many still remain in the jail?
Not exactly. I think it was over 300 still,
Okay.
though.
Okay, well, that makes me happy that 100
Yep.
we've started, so. And it's my understanding that Turnkey is having to do COVID testing on every person that's being moved.
Correct. They've completed their first initial 400 tests that they received from the health department. I think they just received another 1,000.
Okay.
They've been doing new intakes. I believe as of today, they're going to start testing everybody in the jail.
Awesome, good,
So,
good. Anybody else? Questions, comments? Does DOC have any idea of when they will be completed moving everyone? Okay,
no, they don't.
okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Captain Bradley. If there's no other questions, I'll move to receive Captain Bradley's report.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Okay, next item is just a motion to approve the holidays for the calendar year 2021. So you can take a look at the list of holidays that we have there, and I'll go ahead and move the item.
I'll second.
We'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Okay. Item 17, Mr. Assessor. Mr. Stein.
This, I have an older agenda. Is this the MidCon? Has that been transferred? to
Yes.
17? Okay, this is a standard contract. We're asking for renewal. Appreciate your support.
I'll move approval.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 18.
Yes, sir. If you'll allow me, the information is that a company has changed its name, and the district attorney's office and all of us want to make sure we are accurately reflecting that name, and this changes that name and contract name. So that's the only difference. Urge your approval, please.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Thank you, Mr. Stein.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Okay, next is item 19, Benefits and Retirement. Mr. Wilkerson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This
Okay.
this is a standard copier renewal for our department.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Thank you, Mr. Wilkerson. Okay, Budget Evaluation Team, BET, item 20. Mr. Compton.
Good morning, Commissioners. Item 20 here is an item to reimburse expenses that the county has incurred from the Special Projects Fund 1400-350. All of these items have been to BET and vetted, recommended for approval from BET to Budget Board, and Budget Board approved all of these items on the 25th of last month, and they are now here before the BOCC for final approval to reimburse those expenses. The total amount is $21,395.82. $13,027 will go back into general fund, $3,469 into highway cash, $114 treasurer's resale, 895.87 to Records Preservation and Court Services, Fund 1260, for $3,889.95.
No, I will move approval.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor? I'll vote aye. Okay, item 21, Court Clerk.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This is renewal of our lease of our warehouse, 853 Robert S. Kerr.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Thank you, Mr. Warren.
Mr. Warren, I assume that this is around the same lease, same price of the lease agreement from last year, or has it gone up a little bit?
It's gone up, increase will be $1,974, which is a $23,688 increase for the year. And that'll
Okay.
stay that for the next 2 years, and then it'll go up again.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Warren. Okay, Emergency Management, Mr. Barnes. Item 22.
Good morning, Commissioners, and Happy New Year. On behalf of the Emergency Response Committee, I want to provide an update to you. The Emergency Response Committee continues to meet routinely. Our next meeting is tomorrow at 11:30. Some key points of interest: we continue to monitor COVID-19 related factors and statistics. We continue to support and encourage sanitizing efforts that Mr. Monroe has been leading and has been quite effective throughout county facilities, and we encourage PPE use on the part of all employees, co-workers, contractors, visitors, etc. Our on-hand personal protective equipment inventory is currently stable. We are seeing some challenges in some areas in regard to the supply chain with the resurgence of cases across the nation, but we personally, or for Oklahoma County purposes, we are currently in good shape. We continue to provide a basic documentation of positive cases among staff and co-workers within Oklahoma County facilities. And we, according to information that Mr. Matthews and I have received and documented, we have a total of 8 positive cases since the beginning of this situation, with 4 new advisements just in the past week. So we have doubled our numbers in the past week. One positive note, fraudulent unemployment claims, as you are likely aware, have appeared to stabilize somewhat, per Mr. Matthews and Karen Kent, who have been doing a phenomenal job in dealing with that. I am hoping to have a comprehensive statistical report for the month of June, hopefully today. Worked on it yesterday evening, and I will be continuing that today. Recommendations that we make, in addition to the ongoing continued personal and personnel protective measures, include enhanced cleaning and sanitizing. We also are encouraging frequent hand washing, use of hand sanitizer, personal hygiene, including covering the cough. And important points, particularly as we go through the processes of what some term as re-entry, reopening, whatever. Stay home if ill or experiencing symptoms. We have seen some individuals who, for whatever reason, across the system in states and other places are kind of getting laxed on that, as well as some of the PPE use. We're still encouraging continued use of telecommuting wherever feasible and efficient in county organization, county operations. And it's encouragement also to continue to identify and gather your best practices and items that may need improvement that we've established and that we've witnessed and that we've experienced throughout this situation. After action is still out in front of us, obviously, but the things that we learn along the way are important for us in continuity and future. And I am in significant need of personal protective equipment needs assessment from all departments and all elected officials. I sent another email out the day before yesterday evening, and I've yet to receive response from that email from any department, any elected official, any office. We have to get those items ordered and in stock if we're going to have an expectation of having those materials available as we move forward. A new recommendation for today from the Emergency Response Committee. We have done a great deal of monitoring, discussing, and just looking at all the factors, as I said, and we're respectfully recommending a requirement to wear cloth or surgical style face masks on elevators, within Board of County Commissioner controlled facilities unless medically contraindicated. And the reasoning behind this is obvious to us. It's increased positive cases. The report, the last comprehensive report I have from State Department of Health for the 29th, 13,172 total positive cases. That's up approximately 25% from just the 23rd, when we had 11,028. Fatalities for that same period have gone up 14 to 385. And the most substantial increase that we see in cases is in the 18 to 49 year age group. So it's hitting a slightly different age group than what we had, which was the 50 and up before. But again, our recommendation for today excuse me, is a requirement to wear cloth or surgical style face masks on elevators within Board of County Commissioner controlled facilities unless medically contradicted. Any questions or discussions?
That email that you sent out to all the elected officials and departments, all you're asking is just a reply back of how much PPE that office is requesting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Likely based on current use, with a little bit of projection for what future may
Okay.
hold, and I certainly understand that that's an unknown. If we can get that for a 30-day period, then I can extrapolate that out to
Okay.
what our future needs would be for a given period.
Okay. Everyone, please remember to, I remember seeing that email come in, so please remember to reply with your PPE needs.
Mr. Barnes, I just have this question. If the proposal is to make it a requirement, how would that be enforced? And does that mean that what happens if somebody shows up and does not have a mask, number one? Number two, what if they, whether they have or not, they just say, no, look, I've got to get here.
Good questions.
And they get on the elevator anyway.
Yes, sir, thank you, and good questions. Masks are still available at entry points to Oklahoma County facilities, and as the stockpile continues to serve us, the Strategic National Stockpile, those masks will continue to be available as long as that is in place, and then we have a reserve in place currently also, should the Strategic National Stockpile resources be removed from us. So masks are available at both entries. Deputies are being encouraged to remind people coming in of that. From an enforcement perspective, it would not be a legally enforceable measure. However, having signage and recommendations and stating that it is a requirement to wear a mask to be on an elevator, our intent there is not from a legal perspective. Our intent is from a protection perspective, not only for ourselves, our co-workers, but also our customers and other people that come in to do business in Oklahoma County.
So it's your belief that we, through this, the national stockpile, which is not, it's paid for by the federal government and not county taxpayer funds, we have enough masks to be able to hand out to people that show up with that one, correct?
Yes, sir. We have been moving through those. We're under 7,000 masks distributed through my office currently at both entry points, the east side of the courthouse, north side of the Oklahoma County Annex, since we initiated the mass action. So for a month and a half or so, we've distributed just under 7,000 to public and to various offices in the facility and in county facilities.
And how many do we have on hand from that national stockpile?
I thought you
Roughly?
might ask that. Currently, we have between 15 and 16,000 surgical masks in stock, and I've got 15,000 N95s, which, again, N95s are contraindicated for this particular type of use. That's more for healthcare professionals. I am retaining that stock in case guidance does change or we see a worsening of conditions or some type of factor in the future, but I'm retaining that stock. Available for immediate distribution, though, I've got about 15,500 surgical masks currently in stock. And again, to this point, we've distributed under 7,000.
Right. And where I'm going with this is that I like your certainly agree to your recommendation, but let's recognize that there could come a point at which it becomes a significant financial matter for the county, even potentially a legal one if it's being paid for with funds that we can't use for that purpose. So at some point we may need to change this. Hopefully we will be able to change it simply because of the reduced cases, but at any rate, just that's why I asked those questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is there a motion on item 22?
I'll move that we let's see, discussion about action recommendations. I'll move that we approve your recommendation of requiring masks for those getting into elevators in BOCC buildings. That was your only recommendation, correct?
Yes, ma'am, unless medically contraindicated.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
correct.
Okay. Is there a second? I'll go ahead and second it. We'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
No.
And I will vote aye. Okay, motion carries. Item 23, Mr. Barnes.
Yes, sir. It'd be my recommendation to strike this item. I've had a great deal of discussion with the State Office of Emergency Management. As you know, our current declaration is contiguous with that of the state, basically mirroring the dates whenever theirs is completed. Ours will be completed also, and I was able to get clarification yesterday. Theirs is still in place until July 12th. So depending on what they do at that time, it is unnecessary for us to do this at this time.
Okay. I'll move to strike item 23.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Thank you, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you all.
Mr. Trumbo?
Yeah, this is a change. This is a change order for our sixth floor asbestos abatement project. We did discover some rust in our metal decking. When we took the asbestos off, we've got about 8 panels. We're going to have to retrofit some new decking. And then for the areas that aren't quite as bad, we're going to brush them, the rust off and apply a coating. And this will then allow us to get on with the fireproofing. So this change order is for $27,130. And they're ready to go to work today upon your approval. And we could get this project wrapped up by about the end of August if everything goes correct here on out.
And it's my understanding that once this roof project is finished and the fireproofing, then the actual renovation on the sixth floor can continue?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'll move approval of item 24.
Second.
Okay, I just have one question. This, of course, just to clarify, this was a project that was started and approved and all that before 2019, correct?
Yes, I believe it started under before you and Ms. Bloomer took office.
Right, okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Thank you, Ms. Trumbo. Okay, items 25 and 26, facilities management. Mr. Monroe?
Good morning.
Tell us about that. Good morning.
Item 25 is to repair the C elevator in the courthouse. That's the southwest elevator. Governor system that operates the doors is what needs to be replaced for a sum of $18,125.
And this is not in relation to the elevators in the courthouse having some issues yesterday?
No.
Okay. I'll move approval of item 25.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 26.
Item 26 is a like item addressing the drive system for the elevator in the northwest corner of the annex. It's elevator number 4 in the amount of $34,800.
Say again what it's repairing.
The drive mechanisms that actually open and close the doors.
Okay. I'll move approval of item 26.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye.
Thank you, Mr.
Monroe. Okay, 27, MIS. Is Mr. Coffey or Mr. Stewart there?
Yes, sir. Here remotely. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Do I need to have my camera on just to?
If you can.
I can. I just didn't know. I was wanting to make sure. This item is a contract for next fiscal year. This is to encumber funds for the contractor that's working on our new county website.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Blumert?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is Planning Commission, item 28. Mr. Gammon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Bree Ayala addition is a small two-lot plat that was created. They have met all the requirements of our office to become a plat, and this resolution is to allow it to be placed on files. Planning Commission recommend your approval.
And can you remind me, where is this?
May Avenue and Northwest 220th. It's a 10-acre tract that was divided.
Right. Right. I remember now.
So D3?
Okay. All right.
D3?
That's it, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. I'll move approval of item 28.
Okay. Very good.
Second.
All right, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Blumert?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Thank you, Mr. Gammon. Okay, the Sheriff, item 29.
Good morning again. Item 29, we've previously approached this body to allow us to apply for a grant through the U.S. Attorney's Office. It was awarded by the the Oklahoma District Attorney's Council. It's a partnership with the ATF where one of our deputies will be assigned to investigate domestic violence-related investigations. And this is a review of that award.
And is this officer stationed inside Palomar or with the
This is
sheriff's
something
office?
separate.
Something separate, okay.
Yes.
So is this the first time we've ever received this grant?
Correct.
Okay,
And it covers the officers' salaries and benefits.
okay. And just one
Mr.
officer?
Honeycutt, does this
Correct.
require, I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner.
I was just confirming it was for one officer.
Correct.
Okay, does this, Mr. Honeycutt, does it require any county funds?
I believe it's just a reimbursement of there's no county funds necessary, it's just a reimbursement of the salaries and benefits
Got it.
associated with that individual.
Okay, all right, is there a motion?
And you have not hired this person yet?
Correct.
Okay. I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Blumert?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Okay, item 30.
Item 30 is a renewal with United Engines. It's for maintenance for our generator at the Midwest City Station.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Blumert?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Item 31.
Item 31 is a standard renewal with Beyond Trust Corporation. It's for our BOMGAR, which is a remote access program.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Blumert?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 32.
Item 32 is a renewal with Franco type Postolia Inc. It's for postage equipment.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Blumert?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 33.
Item 33 is a renewal with Smith's Detection. It's for maintenance on our X-ray machine here at the courthouse.
And those X-ray machines, they were purchased by they were given to us by Homeland Security, is that correct?
That's for the next item.
Oh, okay. I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Blumert?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Item 34.
Item 34 is a renewal with Smith's Detection on our mobile security for our mobile X-ray machines, and those were, that's funded out of our Homeland Security grant.
Okay. I'm just curious, what is the lifespan of our X-ray machines here at the courthouse, and then also this one on item 34? Like, how long are they usable?
I wouldn't have an answer to that.
Okay.
Captain
I'm just
Basin,
curious.
he's on with us, so
Okay.
he might have an answer.
I assume with regular maintenance, they would last a long time, but I'm just curious.
A lot longer than without.
Right. I'll move approval on item 34.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 35.
Item 35 is a renewal with LexisNexis. It provides legal research.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 36.
Item 36 is a renewal with Choctaw-Nakoma Park Public Schools for the provision of school resource officer.
Okay, and just as a reminder, this is like the other ones we passed a month or so ago. It's the same rate, it's the same number of officers with that school district as before, correct?
Correct, sir. Nothing's changed.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 37.
Item 37 is, it's labeled as a renewal with Colossus. It's a little bit of a, last year MIS held this contract because it had multiple components to it. It had Aegis, it had maintenance and support, it had CAD support, it had some mobile cop support. And so the county has dropped off the Aegis support as we've migrated away from that. And so rather than MIS maintaining a contract with nothing they really have a hand in anymore, we've discussed it with each other, and so we're going to absorb that full contract since the CAD is really us.
Okay. I'll move approval. Oh, crap.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 38.
Item 38 is a renewal for, again, with Colossus Inc. This is for the first-year subscription fees on our records management system.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Honeycutt, on that,
Social services item.
I have
Go
one
ahead.
last question. On the mobile x-ray machine,
Right.
can you tell me where you all use that?
Currently, there's one here at the courthouse, and then there's one at the sheriff's office.
Okay, and just mobile means that it can be moved to a different building? Okay. Okay.
Okay. Social services, item 39. Christie?
Good morning.
Good morning.
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 39 is an agreement with Cox Communications that provides for our internet connectivity at the downtown pharmacy location.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 40.
Item 40 is an agreement with RPHS, which is a relief pharmacy organization. We have this agreement in the event that, for whatever reason, none of our pharmacists are available in an emergency situation. We would be able to call on this organization to provide a pharmacist for the day.
Have we ever had to use this?
Yeah, occasionally.
Okay. I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 41.
Item 41 is the agreement with the Homeless Alliance. It's for our space that we use for our pharmacy at the Westtown campus. There's no cost to us for this arrangement.
I know that they have several other partners in that building.
Yes.
Do they not charge rent to any of their other partners?
Not that I'm aware of.
Wow. I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 42.
42 is for copiers.
I'll move approval.
Second.
This is out at your social service office, right,
Yes.
on 23rd? Okay.
Okay, we'll call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 43.
43 is our maintenance agreements on copiers.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Item 44.
Item 44 is an agreement with the Health Alliance for the uninsured. We've had this in place for several years now. They allocate a specified amount at the beginning of the year. This allows us to work with the patients of the free clinics as those patients need medications. We are able to provide those, but then we get reimbursement back from HAU for doing that.
Okay. And I know Health Alliance for the Uninsured, is it a statewide organization? Or is it just Oklahoma City area?
I believe it's just the Oklahoma City area.
And so,
Or at least the ones that we work with under the agreement are all, yes, in this area.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. Thank you, Ms. Marshall.
Thank you.
Okay. The treasurer, items 45 and 46.
You've been so patient.
Item 45.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, item number 45 is an annual renewal of our bank fee agreement between the Bank of Oklahoma and our office. We use this particular agreement, as we have for several years, predominantly for the deposit of our general fund funds, and then also that's where we run our lockbox through. There are no changes in the fees in this particular contract from the previous year.
Wonderful. I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Now I'll vote aye. Item 46.
Item 46 is also a bank fee agreement between the county and J.P. Morgan Chase Bank. This is the bank that we use for our depository. And we do have two small increases in the fees on this particular contract this year, but the cumulative total of those fees should not be more than $3,000 a year.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Thank you, Mr. Freeman.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, you bet. Recurring agenda items. Item 47, purchasing.
Good morning.
Good morning.
47 is a recommendation for CW 21019. This is for tax statement printing and mailing service. This is a custom service bid for the county treasurer's office. 4 bids were received. And from the treasurer's office, history records, they have previously conducted with 3 of the 4 vendors that we received bids with. Upon feedback and evaluation with the treasurer's office, vendor TPSI is the most qualified vendor based on price and past performance. TPSI is the 3rd low. Their past performance includes ability to keep and meet deadlines, outstanding prompt customer service, communication never lacking. The other 2 vendors, the first low and the second low, have not in the past been able to meet bid specifications, have not also been able to meet statutory deadlines for these forms. That is the basis of the recommendation today to award to TPSI. Also, this is a 1-year bid with 3 one-year options for renewal for a total of 4 years. That is because of the customization required on this bid, and I'm recommending award to TPSI. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
Who did we contract with in the previous fiscal year?
The previous fiscal year was a company called Automated Mail. They also did business as Sachet. And we went to bid just 1 year ago for this. It was that time at the end of the 5 years that we went to bid, 4 years. We awarded to a different new vendor. And even though the treasurer's office was able to perform within that year, they had multiple issues they had to deal with, the missed deadlines, poor communication, and there's several things that have been documented. And prior to that, in past performance, was with the second vendor, Peregrine. And Peregrine also, at that time, had documentation for certain poor performances and not being able to meet certain specifications outlined in the bid.
Okay.
So I'd be happy to provide that information to you if you guys would like to look at that.
I'll move approval of the recommendation of the purchasing office.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Blumert?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Item 48.
Item 48 is a recommendation for CW 21025-1. This is our 6-month bid for highway materials and supplies. 18 bids were received.
Wow.
And based upon final evaluation, feedback from each of the 3 districts, we worked closely on evaluating these bids. I'm recommending award to the low for cement slurry, concrete material, pipe, oils, hauling crushed materials, and steel items. I'm also recommending award to lowest and best for the Grater blades, and this is because of availability, bid price, and also department preference. The low vendor had a turnaround time of an extensive time in order to get the material and bring it back. The price was very minor, the price difference. And also for the remaining materials for aggregates, asphalt, sands, the native materials, according to statute, I'm recommending award to all bids received. Each department will be responsible for determining lowest and best selection based upon availability, price, and transportation costs for each individual construction project. And this is routine how we award. And so it's in 3 parts, but I am recommending award in that manner.
Okay. I'll move approval of the recommendation of the purchasing office.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Blumert?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Item 49.
Item 49, this is for our countywide bid for medical supplies, CW 21033. 13 bids were received. Based upon final evaluation, I am recommending award to lowest per line item, except for 7 items. Line item 1, hands cleanse, instant foaming hand sanitizer. Line item 2, alcohol. Line item 8, shower style caps. Line item 25, purple nitrile exam gloves. Line item 69, shoe covers. Line item 70, control cover gowns. Line item 95, thermoscan ear thermometer. I'm recommending award to the next low, second low on these items. The low vendor had a delivery time frame that was an extensive time frame in order for it to come from overseas, and the price difference was within cents on each of these items. So just due to availability and estimated delivery time frame on those items, I'm recommending to the next low. Those vendors awarded for all items are Boundtree Medical, Capital Medical Supply, Global PPE, Go Safe, Hope PPE, Interborough Packaging, Med Concepts, Medco Supply Company, MedVendy, Pristine Dental and Medical Supplies, School Health Corporation, South Central Industries, and Unipac.
And these supplies are for not only regular needs within the county, but also related to COVID?
That is correct.
Okay.
A lot of our departments in this time right now, I'm recommending that we first start with the awarded bid that we have on file in order for these vendors to be able to meet our needs. And then we can follow purchasing guidelines to go beyond that. Many departments do use this. Juvenile justice is one of our primary users, but also each department, like you said, has the ability, first aid kits and all the different needs, wipes, alcohol wipes, all those sorts of things are provided to the departments through this bid.
Okay. I'll move approval of the recommendation of the purchasing office.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Blumert?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I will vote aye. Item 50.
This is a recommendation for uniform service and rental, CW 21057. Several of our offices rent uniform shirts, pants, and then they also have them laundered. Invitations to bid were sent. 2 bids were received. And based upon final evaluation of the bids received, I am recommending award to UniFirst as the low vendor.
And I assume that the departments that use this are facilities, sheriff's office.
Social services.
Okay.
Each of the 3 districts.
Okay.
Those are the primary ones. I think there's emergency management might. He's not in here, but a couple odds and ends.
Okay.
determining what it may be used for, different services.
Okay. I will move approval of the recommendation of the purchasing office.
Second.
Hello, Commissioner Bloomer,
Aye.
Mr. Taylor,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye. Item 51.
Item 51, you'll see a blanket report is not attached to the agenda today. That is because as the first day of the new fiscal year, the budget was uploaded early this morning by our finance office, and each requisitioning officer is working very hard right now to put in their requisitions to start this new year successfully. All these contracts that we've been approving that we're on today, they are working on getting those encumbrances put in. So if I can have an opportunity to recess this item, I can generate a report, give everybody a little bit more time to come back maybe this afternoon or a time determined by the board to present that report to you in its totality.
So,
how much time do you think you need?
In years past, we meet late afternoon, approximately around 3 p.m., and that would be my recommendation if that fits your schedules.
Okay. And Aaron, we can just take no action on this item and recess the meeting at the end? Okay. I'm fine with 3, and if you even need more time to 4, I'm fine with that as well.
There's a significant process after approval, so I'll need those
Okay.
couple of hours in
Okay.
order to do that part.
Okay.
But 3 would be recommended.
Okay.
That's okay.
Well, let's skip over this one then, and then just make sure we don't adjourn. We'll just recess the meeting until 3 p.m. after the rest of our agenda is done.
Okay, thank you so much.
Item
Thank
52,
you.
your comments.
I will move approval of our claims.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer,
Aye.
Mr. Taylor,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye. Okay, Commissioner comments, District 1.
Yes, I have 2 comments today. Mr. Taylor, would you please pass on my condolences and my prayers to Commissioner Mon over the loss of his baby. My heart hurts for him, and so please pass along our condolences to him. And then I also want to say thank you to our sheriff's office. I hope that the transition last night went smoothly, and I think it is a new day in Oklahoma County and a fresh start, and I'm really excited to see what the trust can do in our jail. But I do want to thank the sheriff's office for the many, many years that you all spent working in that building, keeping it running, so thank you.
Mr. Taylor, anything from District 2?
Yes, thoughts and prayers with Brian and his family as they mourn the loss of Ben, passed away Monday. And I believe the funeral arrangements are being planned for next Monday in the afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also will send my prayers to the Commissioner over the loss of his baby, and we've been praying intently for some time. Also, put things in perspective when you got that, but also congratulations to the Commissioner on a primary election victory, as well as to the 2 candidates who advanced to the runoff in the sheriff's race on one side, as well as to another candidate who won the Democrat primary with a few. Okay. Any new business?
No.
Seeing none, is there any citizen participation? Any citizen wishing to address the board? Seeing none, is there a motion to recess into executive session?
I move we recess.
Second.
Call the roll. Commissioner Bloomer?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
And I'll vote aye. We are in recess.
If everyone would leave the room, please.